Hello! Last time we looked at how to do a screen fight. I shall put a link here, so if you haven't seen it, go and have a look. This time, as per request, we're going to have a look at how to write a script. In the Middle Ages, you had travelling storytellers. Now, they would go from town to village, and they would tell the news and the popular stories of the time. You know, of the blonde-haired hero saving the princess from the double-headed dragon. A director is a modern-day version of that storyteller. But before he can make a film, he has to have a story. You need to have a good storyline for your script. You may be the best screenwriter in the world, but without a good story, your film is going to flop. Think hard about what you're going to put in your story. Don't make it too complicated. A boy from the wrong side of town meets a girl who pretends to dislike him but sees him in secret. Just something simple like that for you to be able to start writing. A lot of script writers start with the title. The title gives you a launching point to develop your ideas. The next step is to figure out what the theme is. The theme is the moral to your story. What is it you want your audience to get when they finish watching your film? Is it the fact that true love endures no matter what is thrown at it? Or are you trying to show that riches really don't make you happy? Once you have established this, every scene should support the rest of your theme. The next step is to make the theme into a logline. A logline, sometimes called a one-liner, is your story condensed into 1 or 3 sentences. For example, a rich girl meets a poor boy and the two fall in love on a doomed luxury liner. This is the one-liner from Titanic. The logline is not only critical in developing your story, it also helps you pitch your idea to a producer or your friends who are helping you with your film. If a writer can't communicate the basics of his story in a logline, then the agent or producer can't pitch your film. Your story can be broken down into 3 acts: the beginning, middle and end. You can't usually get away from the 3-act structure or having those turning points in the right place. A bad script will somehow miss those out and be sort of unbalanced. In a 3-act structure of a movie, for argument's sake, let's say that your movie is 2 hours long. Generally, Act 1 will be the first 30 minutes. The second act is a middle hour, and the third act is the last 30 minutes of your story. Act 1 sets up the who, what, why, when and where of your story. The first half hour allows the audience to understand who the characters are and the setting of where your movie takes place. It's the information you need to tell the rest of the story and the act is only over when you come to the turning point in your story. Act 1 finishes with the introduction of the conflict. Act 2 is generally the meat in your story. It is where your character has to deal with the conflict, and this leads up to what is called the turning point. The turning point in Act 2 is where your story makes a right turn. For example, in Titanic, the conflict at the end of Act 1 is where the ship hits the iceberg. The turning point in Act 2 is where the ship starts to sink. Next time you go to see a film, have a look in the middle of the story. If it's a 90-minute film, look at the 45-minute mark, and if it's a 120-minute film, look at the 60-minute mark, and you will find the turning point in the plot. The second half of Act 2, after the turning point, is about how your characters deal with the change in the plot. That leads up to the point of no return, which is at the end of Act 2. In Act 3, the threat is at its peak, and the characters have to use all their skills to win. In a boy meets girl movie, this is where it looks like the boy is going to lose the girl. The situation is the worst for your hero, and it seems like things are completely hopeless, and the audience is wondering how he's going to get through this. This leads up to a dramatic ending to your film. Once you have your idea, title and logline, it's time to start putting your script down on paper. Some people use Microsoft Word, some people use a program called Final Draft. But there is a really good free program called Celtics. I'll put a link in the description. Start by putting your story into sections. These sections will be your scenes. Once you have these written down, then expand on the action and the dialogue. The BBC recommends that you go to various cafes, diners and restaurants. Sit and just watch and listen to people. Watch how they interact, listen to how they converse with each other, and watch each other's reaction. This will give you a good grounding for writing the dialogue for your characters. Remember, a good screenplay is a story, and stories are critically important. They offer people equipment for living. Write about what is familiar to you, what you're passionate about. A famous French filmmaker, Jean-Luc Godard, said, "All stories have a beginning, a middle and an end, but not necessarily in that order." Robert McKee outlined the structure of any story like this: a key event or an inciting incident, a struggle against all the forces of life, a crisis, a climax, and a resolution. Remember, a story expresses how and why life changes from one condition at the beginning to another condition at the end. Write detailed notes on the history of your characters. Some characters will need depth. What they say and do may be different from what their secrets and desires are. For structuring a screenplay, have a look at what some of the professionals have done. I'll put some links in the thingy below. But here is an excerpt from a script I'm writing for Little Rich and the DBA. In it, you can see the scene heading, the action is represented in capitals, and the dialogue is centred in the page. But at the end of the day, you don't need to pay too much attention to how it's laid out. It's what the content is that matters. So don't rush your script. Take your time over it. When you've written it, print it out, read through it, make corrections, make it better, then do it again. Read through it again and read through it again. Get some friends or a family member to read through it as well. Get their opinion of it. You don't want an opinion of, "Oh, that's nice." You want good, constructive criticism. But most of all, enjoy yourself. Put your ideas down and go and make some great films. Next time, we'll be having a look at simple storyboards and why are they important and how do you use them. I'm also in the middle of writing a script with Porrick from Editudes, which I'm hoping to film next week, so with any luck that will be up as well. I would recommend go and have a look at Editudes' YouTube page. I'll put the link down below as well. He does some great tutorials on how to use Adobe After Effects. Well, bye for now.